Gore. How important is it actually to immersion in a game? Let's take, for example, The Division, where there's a lot of violence, but you have to look really close in order to see the blood spatter effects. Then, on the other hand, there's Gears of War, a game known for its over-the-top head pops, dismemberments, and body chunks. Players actually praise the Gears of War franchise for this, and honestly, it wouldn't be what it is without the over-the-top gore it has. Hey, what's going on, y'all? I'm back with another devlog, and honestly, I had to take a small break, but this right here woke me up and I got right back in the grind mode. Today I want to showcase what I've done with the gore in an attempt to try and perfect it, bridging the gap between too little, too much, and just right. Let me show you what I've got in episode 17 of Identity Rebels. Alright, so I bought this asset on the Black Friday sale for just over $10. And I'll tell you what, if the guy selling this hadn't presented it in this way, I might have not bought it. Check this out. Yeah, man, he really sold me with the whole ominous music and scene, but it's just what I needed. Gore has to be believable, not just repetitive spatters of blood with no physics. That's what I had at first, and here's how it looked. It wasn't doing it for me. It's why I got this specific pack right here. And it doesn't matter if the enemy you're shooting is moving left or right, the blood trajectory will fall accordingly. It falls to the ground as a decal appears and disappears shortly after. Exactly what I need. It's perfect. And I wanted to keep it as simple as possible because there are different types of spatter, small or large impacts, explosions and squirts. This is so awesome. Just imagine having some enemy type that rushes you as a suicide type NPC. Of course, that would be the explosion, like this. Or for knife attacking enemies, they have slash type spatter. So I'll be able to customize this to a T. I can even add a select node on the blueprint with a random integer connected, which allows for multiple random blood spatter effects to avoid repetition. I did try that, but it ended up being too much blood and wildly exaggerated.
You know what? That's too much.
Point is that I've been messing around with all of the effects and how to perfect them and make them believable in Identity Rebels. And I think that based on some of the factions in my game, the gore is definitely necessary, don't you think? Like for example, I briefly expressed this in a previous devlog. It was about the Butcher, and how when roaming the areas that he frequents, he'd be by default chopping up human remains, because they're cannibals. In order to sell this narrative, the environmental storytelling must be on point. With this blood effects pack, and maybe another if I find one that's better, it not only comes with spatter, but also blood that drips down and some that flows like running water. Also decals smeared on the walls. Many different effects to really help that story I want to tell. I'm hyped for this alone. Remember I said this woke me up? I don't know, man. As soon as I saw that blood come off the enemy, it completely changed the gunplay experience. I'm such a proponent of making the gunplay in Identity Rebels realistic, from the recoil of the weapon to the reticle adjusting based on accuracy, and the hit markers that come with it. There has to be so many separate elements to make the player feel immersed. And you know what? The blood is literally the icing on the cake. After all that, I've seen games that have so much blood that while playing that game, I just become numb to it and there's no wow factor. After a while, it just doesn't grab me anymore. And I'm not talking about Gears of War, because in that game, aside from all the blood spatter and the gore, I'd spend so much time after killing enemies just admiring the torso I shot off after seeing the insides of the victim. The graphics were so visually stunning. So how can I make the gore in my game unique? Make it in a way that it always surprises you when something happens. You know, memorable moments. I have an idea. A few actually. And please share any of your ideas in the comment section below. But here's what I was thinking. Oh, and by the way, I almost forgot to show you this. This weapons pack that I have, every weapon has decals attached to them. Meaning if I shoot a wall, the bullet holes will temporarily appear and disappear. Even if I shoot the enemy character, the same thing happens. And the holes are bigger or smaller depending on the type of weapon. This really sells the realism, doesn't it? It looks like the blood is coming from the hole exactly. I couldn't have planned this better. But this just reinforces the ideas I have for making the gore in general unique. So I think I do want to have blood spatter in general, maybe a very small amount. This footage that you see hasn't really been customized exactly how I want it, but once I get back in the lab, I'm gonna lessen it so you can't see it as much, because as I said, I don't want it to be redundant. The only time I want the blood spatter to appear is in certain occurrences, like let's say when they get shot in the head. There's a slightly different effect, a bit more dramatic. Headshots are critical, by the way, so it makes sense. Then for the killing blow, another even more dramatic effect with an added sound effect. I think this, along with the graphical aspect of the decals, will definitely drive this unique gore aspect forward. What do you think? I'd love to know. Anyways, I don't know how much I could talk about this. It's pretty straightforward, right? But the game in general is looking very impressive. Unreal Engine 5.1 is recently released, and with it allows us to create even larger open world areas, along with an improvement to how meshes look from a distance when coming closer to them. Amongst other things, I think this was a great quality of life update for Unreal. That's it for me, y'all. I'm going to try my best to keep things moving with this project. I appreciate you supporting me through it all. It's been almost a year late last December since I started this whole journey. When that day comes, I got something special for you all. Can't wait to show you what I got coming for my 1 year special. Shout out to my patrons. Thank you for your continued support. And for those who also want to support, the best way is to like the video and subscribe to my channel. Join all my social media platforms in the description as well. That'll do it for this one. I'll see you in my next video. Peace.